things we are doing at our office. Our main objective is mainly to contribute to achieving structural transformation through inclusive industrialization. And we do this because in the region we have got a lot of inequalities, and the main key focal areas which we are dealing with are regional integration, regional value chain, value addition, as well as SME support development. And a number of things we do, like for instance, for regional integration, we support formulation of the SADC vision, we support, for instance, CFTA, and also, of course, we also support the SMEs development in a number of our countries. For value chain, we look at things like, for instance, agro-industrial park, which is one of the big ticket for our office, and trying to improve value addition to most of the products to make sure that our economies are industrialized. There are a number of other things which we are doing. For instance, we have been supporting promotion of growth for development of SMEs, and we've had a number of projects which we are working on. So these are some of the key areas. I know you are strained on time, but these are some of the key areas we have been highlighting. Thank you very much for coming to our stand.
They are doing very interesting work in Southern Africa. Then to hear a little bit more about these economic zones on agro and the other things that they're doing. So any ambassadors, colleagues from outside ECA that have questions, deeper questions on what's going on in Southern Africa? Okay. Edson, just to commend your team, Southern Africa, I think, for the work that you're doing. I think this is visible. Would expect that perhaps next Expo will also get countries with whom you are supporting so that they can be witnesses to the work that you're doing in Southern Africa. So thank you very much.
Yes, colleagues, welcome to the booth of Central Africa office. We are the presence of ECA in Central Africa. We support structural transformation and economic diversification for the 11 ECA countries. What we do mainly is to promote industrialization and help them actually develop the modern service sectors, so that in the long run we can have more intra-regional trade and also increase the share of manufactured goods within their export. With colleagues here, I'm with Lord Cheko, who is our knowledge management officer, and Mumini is our fellow. I'll go very quickly introducing you to some of the work we have been doing in the sub-region. We have been supporting, till now, the development of the pharmaceutical industry in Cameroon through putting in place a special economic zone, actually bringing together all the segments of the value chain, allowing Cameroon in few years to be able to contribute to the regional value chain and be able to produce some of the generic medicine. We are also helping Chad, not only developing its industrialization and economic diversification strategy, but mainstreaming urbanization, sustainable urbanization dimension within the overall arrangement. Here, initiatives such as the special economic zone on renewable energy, on solar energy, is a flagship project we are supporting in Chad. We have helped the overall sub-region developing its sub-regional industrialization and economic diversification strategy. This is in tandem with the ECAS countries and the ECAS Secretariat, helping these countries having a framework which will help individual countries now define their own strategies. We have also been providing support to a coalition in the DRC toward developing the value chain on electrical batteries and electrical vehicles. This is a cooperation agreement between Zambia and the DRC, banking on their rich dotation in terms of cobalt, lithium, copper, helping them now to move from the lower level of the value chain and be able to to contribute to the value chain of electrical car. Another interesting activity we are doing is supporting the CFTA strategies at sub-regional level and national level. All our countries, we are proud to say that all of them were the first one to ratify the CFTA strategy. Thanks to our support, actually building the awareness about the free trade area which is building up in Africa. Now we are moving on in terms of implementing this, strengthening capacity of sectoral actors so that they can play critical role in advancing this agenda. We are also at the heart of the work of our UNCTs in all the countries. We are actually leading segment of the cooperation framework which are dealing with industrialization and economic diversification. We are very happy to team up with other SROs, and we hope that this work would attract other partnerships here and also encourage us to come and pick some of our reports here. Here we brought some of them. We want all of them to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean-Luc, for the presentation. Again, I don't on what they're doing in Central Africa. Great work, and one of them is the battery initiative, which is going on between DRC and Zambia. I think that is going to be, a game changer, really, on, not just in those two countries, but basically the whole region on the continent. I think will benefit a lot. You talked about the economic zone work that is going on, and in energy and so forth. Again, the support also to countries on different strategies. So, Jean-Luc, we're looking forward to seeing you. Thank you. I think we can give him a hand of applause from that.
My name is Molla, a statistician from the African Center for Statistics. African Center for Statistics of quality statistics on the continent, which is the African Statistics System. We have research and so on. Here at Statistics, we have what we call the five user persona. One is the public. We would like to have a well-informed citizen. The second one is the policy, which for policy conversation, policy dialogue, and so on. The third one is research, especially the academia, and the last one is the data redistributors. We also promote not only the use of statistics, we also promote the reuse of statistics to be packaged and redistributed, and with more insights and so on. We work pretty much on all statistical domains, from population, demography, up to environment statistics at ACS, but we are divided into four. We serve the continent through a number of methods, through handbooks, producing manuals, guidelines. We also package data, like the African Statistical Yearbook, and also online products like, if I may point you to the screen, what we call the Africa UN Data for Development Portal, which we are working with various, I think, several UN offices in the region. We also work on censuses mainly. I would like to focus on censuses. We work with over 22 countries in Africa for this round, especially encouraging and promoting member states to use digital technologies for census taking. As you know, census is very essential to produce highly disaggregated data, what you call granular data, especially to speak the notion of leaving no one behind, which is the main notion of the SDGs. And you see here, some of the products we are featuring here. Coming to censuses, we support censuses through calibrating the use of digital technologies for field workers and supervisors to collect data efficiently without failure. And the other is, which has not been there, is monitoring the census field work while we are in the field, which improves quality, coverage, and also timeliness of the data on the continent. Currently, we are working with Liberia. Actually, this is a Liberia monitoring dashboard, where we are currently monitoring what is going on the field on the census taking, which speaks to the various indicators to improve coverage and also to improve quality of the census taking on the continent. Maybe to also talk a little bit on some of the products. I think we are the only organization having dashboards for the Agenda 2063. We have also country dashboards on SDGs for the 54 countries. So please tap into these resources to improve your policy work, especially those ECA colleagues. I think I stop here. Thank you so much for coming and listening.
Thank you, Mola. Cross-cutting subject, in all divisions. So he's made several presentations, raised several issues. But again, I'll ask if there are people that have questions to what has been presented. What we also saw there was currently running census in Liberia, live. So the numbers that we see there, as they collect data from household to household, the numbers are accumulating. And that's what you saw on the dashboard there. You don't have to go into the field. So as Liberia is 1,000 kilometers from there, we're able to see what is actually going on in the field, the numbers, the households, the failures, the tablets that we have given them. They're able to provide that information live. And that's what we have here. We're able to do that from here, from Addis, and monitor the census in Liberia. And we can do for any other country. So any questions there for what has been said so far? There is a question for Lottie.
Thank you. Good job for us. I'm wondering why you didn't link the spatial data with those data you collected to be more closer to the result. Thank you.
Can I ask the chief of geospatial to answer that question? Because
yes, I wanted to even ask a question. How many among us has a smartphone or a mobile phone? All of us, eh? And in your mobile phone, you do have what we call Google Maps. Yes, okay. To pick you from where you are to your preferred restaurant or to your preferred place. We all know that. This is a small part of what we are doing in the geospatial side, and this is the support we are giving to country, because this cannot happen if we don't have a common frameworks to build a data set that are used in your mobile phone. So to respond to this question, of course, we always say that we cannot count what you cannot locate. That means that the spatial component is key to the statistical process, because it will give you a more comprehensive understanding of data placed in their location and in their places. This is the linkages we make between statistical data and geospatial data. And we have a very strong program on the integration of statistics and geospatial within the African Center for Statistics. Thank you, and over to you.
Just to add, this is the first time on the continent, in fact, maybe on the world, that we've had a census that's geo-referenced for the first time. And this is why in some of the countries they've been able to produce the census routes within 40 days. Tanzania just did it recently, and the intention is to reduce that to even 2 weeks. That is our intention, and ECA has been at the core to lead that kind of process. So a big hand to Mola.
Colleagues, we have a session that we showcase the products, innovative products we've developed here at ECA, which countries are using. Please join us at CR6. Maybe to add one point, spatial data is not just maps. You know, we have what we call as observation data, which is used to produce a number of statistics, like access to services, poverty measures, and so on. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. Good afternoon all, and welcome to Africa Hall Project booth. So I will be briefly describing the conception of our project until where we are today together with my colleague Andreas. So as you can see here, the project was conceived in 2008 while ECA was celebrating the 50th anniversary. In 2012, ECA started preliminary studies, need assessment of the project, and then in 2014, ECA submitted feasibility study. This contains the concept design, project plan, estimated budget. In 2015, General Assembly approved the project objectives and $57 million for the project. The project context indicates that the initial ideas, why do we need to renovate or restore this building? So the first one is to modernize and rejuvenate and to upgrade its functionality and safety, highlight the historical cultural legacy of the building, and opening it to the general public. The other is the institutional context. Innovation plan, standardization and upgrading, and global guidelines for construction projects. So the concept design incorporates the 4 points that you can see here. Respect of the original design principles and main features. The building is a heritage building, so when we are restoring, we are fully trying to bring it back to the original design contents. Attention to artworks and signs. The building contains different artworks and heritage. We have got 7 different artworks. These artworks contain 2 stained glasses, 3 canvas and linens, 1 laser artwork, and 1 carpet. All these heritage assets will be part of the restoration of Africa Hall. The design concept incorporates the best international standards and practice, attention to stakeholders' requirement, and private design. The other issue is the incorporation of the permanent or the research center in Africa Hall. Africa Hall is expected, after the completion of the restoration, is expected to be open to the general public. Accordingly, the host country has provided ECA, the United Nations, 3,000 square meters, which will be used as a parking plot outside the compound. So external visitors will be having access to the whole compound, particularly for the research center and the permanent exhibition. So the other is the project background, as you can see, the symbol of Pan-Africanism, the design principles, the relevant historical roles played in Africa. Especially, I would like to emphasize on this background. Hosting the signature of AU Original Agreement, OAU, Organization of African Union, while it was established in Africa Hall, the charter of the OAU was signed in Africa Hall by 32 member states by their represented, as you can see here, the founding fathers of OAU. This canvas and linen will be part of the restoration works that we are going to have in Africa Hall. What are the major objectives? We have 4 major objectives of the restoration of this building. The first one is rejuvenate the building, code compliance, extending lifespan. The building is 61 years old. It was built in 1961. This means a building that existed for about 61 years requires to be refurbished and restored. So the structural safety of the building is required to be extended for further other years. The other is modern conference facility. The conference facility that we have was installed together with the construction of the building before 61 years.
this conference facility will be part of the restoration works, and it will be upgraded. Preservation of heritage and the historical values. The building by itself is a heritage. It incorporates different heritage items inside. These heritage items will be part of the restoration and the heritage preservation task. Exhibition role and visitor experience. The ground floor, the area that we call the Rotunda area, which covers more than 300 square meters, is going to be the permanent exhibition, contain 3 major components or compartments. The first one is the UN component. The second one is the African component. And the third one is the ECA component. So this visitor center will be open for not only visitors, it will be open for the performance of different African cultures, depending on the consensus of the African countries. Per year, 1 or 2 or 3 different performances will be performed in the ground floor of the Rotunda area, the cultural and other performances. The scope, structural upgrade, it covers about 8,000 square meters. When I am saying 8,000 square meters, I'm adding up all the floors together. Safe and comfortable functionality for about 450 seats. Technological upgrade that we mentioned earlier, heritage and artwork restoration. 7 artworks are included here. Exhibition and visitor area on the ground floor, which covers greater than 300 square meters. And external works contextualization, about 700 square meters. The landscaping works, the external parking areas, and associated works will be part of the renovation task. So, the project, having been conceived in 2008, is expected to be completed in 2024, January, February. So, it is a little bit delayed due to several reasons that would not be necessary to mention them here, but it was expected to be completed in 2021, but we are extending it until 2024, January and February. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I'm sure people have questions, particularly even from ECA, given this is touching their own physical space, so to speak. So anyone who has a question, comments on the good work that is going on in renovating and changing the structure and making it new and so forth, what the colleagues are doing. Joseph.
Yes. Thank you very much, and congratulations for this job of restoration of our common history. This is very important. My question is this: before we even restore and modernize, do we have a repository of all these events so that to some point when the restoration will be ready, you can have a sort of virtual museum that we can send to all 54 countries everywhere in Africa, so that people can know, even if they are not able to travel to Addis Ababa, they will be able to visit our common history, because this is where, as you mentioned, that most of the foundations that our founder fathers have laid are still valid.
Thank you. Actually, it was not part of the resource mobilization process, but it was part of belongingness of this Africa whole. In the process, what we did was we invited all African embassies in Addis to get part of this process so that they can contribute, or it can be in monetary terms, it can be in kind contribution that can be displayed as part of the history of African countries. This has been submitted to all embassies, including AU and other embassies, and we are expecting, we have not yet finalized the design issue of this permanent exhibition, because we are not sure as to what we are going to incorporate additional items. So we are trying to get engaged to involve all stakeholders in this process. Thank you for raising this issue.
Thank you. Let's give you a round of applause. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. We commend you, and we're looking forward to a newer place. And please don't go beyond 2024. Thank you. Next. What is this now? Human resource, the people that care for us.
My team, I need support. Where are you? We need the support, yes. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to HR Stand. I think you've all gone around all the booths for all the divisions. You've seen the achievements, you've seen what they do, the talents, and HR is almost at the end of this session, and this is not by chance, but by default, because HR is the enabler of all that you've seen around here. All of you who are here came through HR, so that's why we're here today. So for HR, we'll just quickly go through our mission. We look at what we do. We'll then look at the achievements and then what we're looking forward to. So this is our mission, is to build a high-performance workforce, provide timely and quality HR services, and then facilitate and enable a work culture. This is what we do. So let's start with talent management. So what do we look at? So in talent management, we look at 3 areas. So all of you, we start with recruitment and selection. Once you come on board, we have to see how to develop you. So you build on the skills that you came with to make sure that you continue performing, and then we need to retain you. So these are the 3 areas that HR really does. We recruit, we develop, and then retain. So in recruitment, what are we looking at? We have the different categories of staff. We have the professional hire categories, we have general service, and on the other side, we also have the non-staff. We have the consultants, the interns, and fellows. This is the personnel of ECA, and this is where we start. And then when we do the recruitment, we look at the 3 core values in the UN. And what are the 3 core values? We have the integrity, we have professionalism, and we have respect for diversity. So this is what we look in all of the HR personnel, of all the ECA personnel who come to work in ECA and in the United Nations. So, Then in addition to the 3 core values, we also have the 8 core competencies. For all the job openings, we ask each one of you to tell us, do you want teamwork? Do you want someone who is good at teamwork, creativity, technological awareness, so that you are able to get the people who will perform to meet whatever your mandates are? Okay, so those are the core competencies. And then when it comes to development, how do we now develop the colleagues who come on board? And here we have the career support, and this is equal career development and training opportunities. And this is for everyone. So we look at what is the career and life planning information. We have the learning opportunities. We have workshops, different trainings that I'm sure all of you have experienced this at one time or another. And then from here, continuing with the career development, we have our organizational development unit. They have all these courses. So the ECA thematic areas, most of you have maybe, we have the language center here with all the information. So this is part of the development because there's that career progression. There is career advancement, and everyone is invited to make use of these opportunities. What I would like to say here is, pause there. What I would like to say about the career advancement, career progression, whatever you want to call it. ECA as an entity has made the opportunities for each and every one of us. And it's up to you if you want to make use of that or not. The opportunities are there. No one will come to pull you to go to a training, but please make use of that. That is how you develop, and that's how you move in your career. And at whatever category or level that you are, the career progression is for everyone. So it doesn't matter where you joined, the ECA or the UN, and I'm sure all of us have a story. And on that screen there, we have colleagues who have given their journey in ECA and in the UN, so you can also look at those videos to see where they started. And I'm sure if there was time, if we picked anyone, they'll tell us what their career progression is. Okay, so once we develop you, we have to retain you, you know? So how do we do that? This is looking at your welfare, this is looking at your well-being, and when it comes to retention, then we have to look at the pay and benefits. We have to always think about that. We have the social security, where we have the health insurance when you're a staff member. We also have what we call ASHI there, that's the after-service health insurance. So why do you want to stay with the UN? Because after you retire, you'll still have insurance when you go. There is the pension that you also go. And for most of you who know about the pension, we have a PowerPoint there that talks about the pension. It has good benefits. Then, of course, we have the different benefits and allowances depending on your category, your level, and all that. So this is to ensure that you have the benefits and entitlements. And when we say that we provide the HR services, it's not just getting the people on board. But when you're here, you don't need to think whether you're going to receive your salary at the end of the month or not. Whether when you have your child, you're going to receive that allowance or insurance or not. We are providing that services, and we make sure that whatever actions need to be taken are taken, so you concentrate on meeting the mandates for ECA. You don't need to worry about that. So this is about the benefits, the retention, everything that we do. Then some of the significant achievements in the area of human resources. We just see what we've done so far. So vacancy rates, we are just looking from last year to now. You see there is been, that has gone down. 14% end of 2021, we are now at 11%. And as most of you know, all the hiring managers, recruitment campaign, this is what we're trying to do to make sure that the vacancy rate comes down. From here, we look at the recruitment timelines. We know that the job openings need to close within 120 days. 3 or 4 years ago, we were at 445. But over the years, this is coming down. Now there's almost a 50% decrease in the number of years. I speak to you hiring managers. When you open the jail, please, we count on you to make sure that this closes within 120 days. 225 days is not good enough. We need to come down to 120. So please, thank you for listening to that and to take that away. Gender parity. You can see also this is also increasing over the years. We are improving in that. The general services and other categories, and also the professional buff categories. Professional path categories, this is what is measured, you know, the key performance indicators. We are at parity D1, D2, P4 and P2. Actually, P2 now we're disparity now, so we need to sort of reverse that. But we still need to work at P5 and P3. So again, I'm talking to the hiring managers, please. This can't be done without you. You are the key players in the vacancy rates, in the gender parity for what you need to do. The figures are here. It's not just Emily talking. Oh, by the way, my name is Emily Ngosi. I'm the Chief of Talent Management Unit. Sorry. It's just not Emily talking, but you can see the figures there. So this is where the improvement is. Let's go to the next one. And then when we look at the trainings that has been done so far, you can see here, the person hours there is an increase over the years. The number of courses that have been delivered, the in-person training hours, as I said, the trainings days that are there. And we have, I think this is also a very good achievement as well, a new program on a pilot basis. This is the sign language. Sorry, Mr. Chair, HR has to take a bit more because we have a lot more to talk. And yes, thank you. Yeah, and you can see with the training when we talk about the gender parity and the retention, and normally we are focusing on the female, you know, to remain, and we can see 57% of all participants across all trainings were women. We have 58% of internal promoted staff. They are all women. So these are also just measures of trying to see how we can move. Okay, we have 3 minutes. I think that's one. Okay, I have talked enough. I just invite in my colleague here to talk on HR analytics. Another 1 minute, and then we wind up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Emily. So, like Emily has just told you, talent acquisition is one of the main functions of HR, and it's a shared responsibility. Yeah, all of us came in. Our story with the organization started at talent acquisition. Yeah, and as you are all aware, we've had a recruitment campaign this year that was launched in June 2022. And the purpose was to try and accelerate recruitment of all vacancies at ECA at that time. And we would like, as HR, to thank each and every one of you, from the office of the AES, to the hiring managers, to the admin support team, for all your support in this shared responsibility that we have all handled together. So it is good for us to see this effort, yeah? Where has it taken us to? For every job opening that closes successfully means that somebody's career has been enhanced. It means that new talent has come into the organization. It means that a staff member has received an opportunity to move to a different section, a different division, to a different functional area. It also means that our colleagues, the non-staff capacities, have an opportunity to start their story, to start their journey with the UN. So with all our shared responsibility in this process, from hiring managers, CRB members, to AP members for the CBIs, this is what we have achieved in 2022. We have closed a total of 77 job openings since January to date. We still have a few more to close by the end of the year, so we'll have, the number will go up. And of these 77, 38 were GS and related, and 39 were P and above. So we need to clap ourselves. This is not a small effort. All of us took part, the SROs and EDEP and all the divisions within ADIS. This was our collective work that brought us this far. Let us keep up the momentum as we continue. And as Emily also said, we have the HR metrics. We also try to balance to ensure that we maintain equitable geographical distribution and that regional diversity is also maintained. And from the 77 JOs that we closed, we recruited from 27 nationalities. That is also a good achievement. So we're increasing diversity within the ECA and within the organization as a whole. Yeah? Thank you. The next slide. The last minute. Okay, the compact, the ES compact with the SG tracks 4 main HR metrics areas that are tracked on the management board at HQ. So we have on our RPMS, the recruitment performance monitoring system that we have here that also maintains the same data that you can see on the HQ management dashboard. And of the recruitments that are tracked in the ES Compact, we can see that 36 JOs that were tracked, the average timeline has gone down to 225, which is very good. And most important, the JOs that met the 120 days that is required to close a J opening are these ones: PODI, SES, GPSBD, MGD, OES, Central Africa, West Africa, and TCND. This is really a good job and collective effort. Let us continue. Yeah, let us continue encouraging and meeting these timelines. These targets are not difficult to meet if we work together, yeah? And the total females that came in were 72% at P3, 60% at P4, 50% at P2, and P5, 100%, and 75%. So we're also doing well in terms of gender, trying to bring in qualified females into the system. And also, we recruited from 6 underrepresented countries. So in conclusion, I would like to just encourage us to continue maintaining the momentum that we have started, yeah, so that we meet our targets. If you look at the 120 days recruitment timeline, apart from the posting period of the JO, which is usually 45 days, yeah, the next is 40 days with the hiring manager. So the hiring manager, we really depend on you. We are the enablers. We work with you to support you to meet the 40 days. HR part in the 40 days is just 8 days. So let us work together to make sure that we bring our statistics, our metrics high, and our compliance rate very, very high. But thank you very much, and back to you, Emily.
1 minute finishing. I'm finishing. Sorry. So just to finish where we're looking, yeah. Okay, so just some of these. Staff services gateway, I think that's good. Automating HR services so that when you want to request your statement of employment, it's no longer email, it's online. Another achievement actually was our recruitment performance management system, we call it RPMS. We're able to get these statistics because it's there and it's helped us, especially during this year. And now we are even going to use it to be more proactive and reactive to ensure that we focus on the month. And then of course, the tip of the month, this came actually from the staff engagement action plan to be sharing tips of the month. The staff corner in the ECA HR bulletin, we put their updates for staff on everything that's happening, outreach to divisions and SROs, EDEP. So whenever you are holding your Ubuntus in the divisions, let HR know that we have an HR representative there. So we are close to our clients to know what's happening. And then of course the learning catalog that is coming in 2023, please check all here. And lastly, we have to talk about the values and behaviors, and it's there, right there at that corner, because now we've moved from the 1999 booklet. If those of you remember, it was black, green, and red with the core values and that. Now we have the UN values and behaviors that are here. We have the pamphlets here that you can check and refer to. Please refer to them and know now where we are moving. Inclusion, integrity, humility, humanity. Those are the values that we need to look at and the different behaviors. Lastly, this team here, these are the people who are making the magic happen. This is the team here from HR, we cannot do. And our chief is right here, he's standing behind. He's the one who is making us to do that. So thank you very much, and over to you.
Thank you very much. You know, when there's a human resource, underlying resource, she was using all the resources in the house. And this is what happens when you gather all the skills and you use them. But really a big hand to the team that takes care of us. I think that I was hesitant to stop and said, look, if I stop, my file when it's sent it might not move. No, but a big hand, because one of the things that has happened in the last couple of months is what has been described. I think the human resource, the department, the division has changed. The human resource division has completely transformed itself. Thanks to Sajiv and your team. We really appreciate this, and please keep it up. I want to say a little bit about humanity and humility. Please don't send a JO to us when someone has just deceased. It has happened. Let's practice this. We had a situation where someone just passed on the following morning at a JO. Please, can you work on a JO? Please don't do that. Let's try and the values. Thank you very much. Next.
Fantastic.
Emily, I listened to yours. You have to listen to mine. Irene, are you here? Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue, dzień dobry, welcome. It's the end of the day, it's the end of Expo, and facilities management always opens the lights in the morning, and it will be closing the lights this evening. On behalf of our guests of honor and our directors, exactly, we close the lights on you, Emily. We welcome you to the team that is behind the stairs, in the back, behind the walls. Facilities management, it's our motto. If you break it, we're going to try to fix it. That's what we try to do. And our only reason for being here is to support the substantive and operations of this entire organization. In my entire life, I've done the exact same things that ECA does. As a think tank, strategically, we're looking at 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now, looking at $100 million of work to rebuild office buildings, build new ones, rebuild our conference room, which is over 30 years old. We look after the convening content of about 10 various projects underway, language school, the conference rooms. We have office spaces underway as well, the library. We have various other projects, but also we have a core of operations. This team, this is not Home Depot. These are some of our tools. But most of our tools, just about all of them, are in our heads. We are full of engineers. We have architects. We have accountants. We have administrative professionals, electricians, mechanics, audiovisual technician personnel. And everybody on the common services under publication knowledge management and under DOA supports us so that we can support the substantive world. So, at this present point in time, we look after strategy. What's happening in 10 years, 15 years from now? $100 million of work. We have a small design and development team of engineers and architects, 10 people, that's it. We also have about 15 operating personnel, electricians to keep everything going, mechanics, audio-visual, and 5 admin finance support staff. We have 30 individual contractors as well, supporting our organization and our entire campus. Our campus is 100,000 plus square meters. That's the equivalent of 2,000 to 2,500 homes. And think about 2,500 people in there as well that we look after to make sure that they're safe and secure and everything works. So after projects and administration, we have our operators. So we have 30 regular staff, 30 IC, and then almost 300 additional staff. We're behind and below the stairs. You don't see us. It's the cleaning, it's the gardening, it's the electrical mechanical aspect. We have campus architects as well. We have a fire alarm system. We support the clinic, security, and IT 24 hours a day. We have a team on every day, weekends, evenings. And that is the core, is the people that are here, and they know everything that we actually have installed and built. But the great thing, because we don't do rocket science, there's 10,000 facility services in the world. What's incredible is what we know as a team in ECA. What is the mandate of the UN? What is our high, our humanity, humility, integrity, inclusiveness? What are the values? What do we do substantively to make our job much better so you can do your job? I need to know what my director of in the division does and what team he needs to work for, and also what does he have to deliver? Technology, office space, a conference, support. He just needs to make things happen for the continent, or she has to make things happen in the continent. And in here, we make things happen with our common services teams. So I'm not going to go on to any other aspects other than in the Army, the engineers and architects are first in, first out. So in the morning, we turned on the lights, and at night, we turn off the lights. And we're here all the time for you. So the Expo is an amazing event. We have been able to meet and greet with colleagues, common services, but on the substantive side, also dignitaries, guests that have come in here to all know what's going on with our SRO people. Some we haven't seen for 4 years, we've seen online, but for the most case, this is about, you'll have to excuse me, I refer to it as a mutual admiration society. We need to have pride in what we do, celebrate and know each other as well. And I thank you very much for incredible leadership on your time, Irene, and I can't even remember what else. But also on my team, for Eunice, who actually initiated this across my entire team. We have an accessible, a sustainable, international standards of codes and safety, security. We work with everyone. If you need something, we're open 24 hours a day, just like Pizza Hut. Thank you very much. Merci.
You know the story of Joe the plumber. The people that sit in the background, you don't hear them, you just hear noise by their hammers and it's when they're running machines and so forth. So these are the people that really keep us checked, make sure that our offices are well maintained, we have lights, that the green is well, manicured and it looks beautiful, well groomed and all that. That's the team that does that. I want to believe that you have questions. We would have liked to ask him to take us through in terms of the equipment before us. Because when I saw it the other day, I thought maybe it was for sale. Now I see it's to tell us a little bit more. But we don't take us through, but maybe people that have questions to FMS, a colleague. Yeah.
Ask a question.
If we quickly, maybe just 2 minutes, just tell us what.
Yes, not to refer to them, but our best and most expensive tools are ourselves, of course. But everyone else needs. We have RENA, electrical mechanical team that looks after things 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they've got about 60 to 70 staff to make sure everything works on electrical mechanical aspects. We have EBA fire alarm system. We have Maketa gardening as well. Bethlehem is our cleaning and pest control, Radiant's our pest control system, but we have cleaners. And the fact is that for 2 years now, we have moved from cleaning to sanitization to COVID to moving everything and making sure everything's available for whoever comes in and keeping that safe and clean and supporting the clinic and IT and everybody else here. We have a campus architect. So we have electrical, mechanical items, fire alarm, cleaning devices, all of this. You got pieces of all that at home too. You have to run your home. Problem is I got 2,500 homes right now. And the last thing I want to just mention is, I didn't say we were rocket scientists, but we are smart. In 4 decades, there are 3 places that are the most difficult to work as an engineer or an architect for, I think, as facilities. One is a hospital. We have one here, a clinic. The technology to maintain that and to make sure that people are safe and secure and keep it to a level. The other is information technology in a data center. We have it. We actually have a few here between security and IT. We have complexity behind the walls that nobody else knows. We keep that moving with our other colleagues. The third thing is a nuclear power plant. Fortunately, we don't have one of those because they are way too complicated to run. So other than that, I said once again, once you leave, the lights are off. I said audio visual, of course, but Kalu's team is here as well, supporting the entire APPR. So we have a conference team and co-working with our information technologies team. But thank you very much, sir. All the best.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we give them another round of applause. I don't know if there are any questions, comments.
Everything's free.
No. Maybe with that, I will hand over to the organizer of the expo.
I have to say that I'm a very, very happy woman today because of what the expo has turned out to be. Today is the last day, and there are a lot of lessons learned. But I think what I take home is the smiling faces, the enthusiasm from every booth. Everybody was so excited to talk about what they do. And for me, I'm going to sleep very well for the next 3 days. So with that, I want to really thank you. It's been a tough journey. The to and fro, Carolina, making up your booths, the events manager, and best of all, sorry to say this, FMS booth was assembled on the day of the event, and I really put my thumbs up. So with those few remarks, and really thanking you from the bottom of my heart, everybody here contributed across the cadres, right from the cleaners, across the GP. There was nothing about our levels. Everybody put their best foot forward, and we truly appreciate. And on behalf of Nita, I want to thank you. And on behalf of myself and the expo team, I really want to thank you. Let me now give this mic space to our guest of honor, Oliver, to give us the last remarks. Thank you.
I'm not sure whether I'm a guest of honor. I have delegated authority from the executive secretary to stand in for him for this particular activity. No, colleagues, I think this is a good send-off for us going for Christmas. First of all, I think we have not done this before, at least not in the time that I've been here since 2016. I've never seen anything like this. And I think this is something that we need to develop, nurture, and have it as something that is an annual event. But perhaps maybe a slightly more different, that we actually bring in our clients. Who are our clients? The countries we save. Because what we have done most of the time, we have spoken to ourselves about things that we know, maybe apart from those that have not been here. So what we need to do really going forward is to see, can we get those we save to come and see and become witnesses to the work that we do? I think that will become much more impactful. Perhaps what we also want to do is to incorporate them in our own displays, their own work they are doing at country level, to complement with what we do. And otherwise, really just want to thank everyone who has participated, bringing the necessary effort to ensure we are at this level where we are. And I think we've felt a bit of some kind of appreciation. And I think also want to advise that, those who will be organizing this, if it is yourself, Irene, perhaps maybe we delink it from APPRM so that it becomes a standalone expo. An expo is a place where you exhibit and share knowledge and experience of things that you have done with your clients. And I think we should develop it around that to make sure that it becomes a real expo, and that maybe we even have things like this that we have seen today. And so going forward, that would be my little advice. But among us ourselves, I think this is something we should actually clap and for ourselves, for a job well done. So as we go into the new year, it means that we're also going into the new year with the new thinking, new approach, new innovative ideas, because I think that's what we've picked up here. And even for the last couple of days, we've been looking, discussing the APPRM. We've noticed the high level of discussion, deeper discussion on issues and what we need to do to countries. And that means that this is a different way of approach and looking at impactful areas where we actually see visible. Don't stone me. I hope that's not me. I don't maybe I was speaking too much. So on behalf of the Executive Secretary AI, I once again I want to thank the organizers of this. Irene, of course, Nita, who is not here, the team that has been there in the background, whom we don't know, but they've been there to do this. It wasn't very easy. I know that even from the divisions, it was a little bit blank. Most of the people did not know, at least I know from where I come from in my own division, it was not clear exactly what we needed to do. But with the guidance of Irene, the guidance of Caroline and others, they made it possible. If you could just come, those that were at the back, maybe you could just, at the heart of it all, if you just raise your hand so that you can actually see the people who are doing this work. Can you please just put your hands up? So that's the team, but of course working with the teams from the divisions. Yeah, that's. Finally, I also want to thank colleagues from the SROs, because it wasn't easy working with the people that are at a distance to come here and display what they've been able to do. I think we've heard this afternoon a number of things that are going at country level. And I think really we should thank our colleagues from SRO. They are the ones that are first for us, much closer to the countries than us who are here in Addis. They are the ones that stand in as ambassadors on behalf of the Executive Secretary. A big hand applause for those 5+1 colleagues. So with that, I think we come to the close of the expo. Today is the last day. Tomorrow we continue with the last part of the APPRM. And I guess the Executive Secretary, AI, will be able to provide further guidance in terms of how we proceed. All I did was to give maybe 1% of his own thoughts. Thank you very, very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you very much. One last thing. Oliver, could you just hold this microphone? Just to thank Irene for putting this all together. And this is a paper holder, okay? And the last piece to let you finish the renovations in the library. Thank you very much.
Do I have to pay for that? Yeah? Do I have to pay for that?
Thank you, everyone. We have a coffee break. Just last housekeeping comment. We will be dismantling the booth all tomorrow morning at 10. So make sure you take everything before tomorrow morning at 10, please. Thank you.